Hi there, my name is Jordan Anthony Davies, and this is a small look through time. This is my draft for the Bridlington Things design brief. A small look through time is my concept for a telescopic virtual reality experience in which allows users to interact with an engaging virtual environment, an experience that I hope helps audiences engage in the city's enriching past and future. This is the map page in which anyone looking at my brief would be able to navigate quite easily. So as an example, if you wanted to go check my references, you can just click here and go back to the map using this icon that is on all of the pages. The brief was to design a prototype, a digital art piece which encourages potential audiences to visit and remain in Bridlington. These devices would be displayed alongside the seafront. The client appreciated the prospect of a collaborative art piece which involved large-scale projection mapping, medium-scale interactive interconnected devices, or small-scale augmented reality. This device needs to stand out and be entertaining, and perhaps most importantly, encourage people to visit and stay in the city. This prototype will be produced and exported in Adobe XD, which is what I'm doing right now. This movie should last between 3 and 5 minutes and should include text, graphics, with some choosing to include film and audio. Deep consideration of specifics of the brief will be rewarded alongside good quality assets and clear explanation of the concept itself. My initial start to this project included researching areas in Bridlington in which my device would actually make sense to be. So the examples I have here are of the seafront here. This location was quite far from the centre of normal Bridlington town, and it didn't make sense to have the device embedded in actual beach and sand and stone. Whereas the Bridlington Docks location was located near the centre of the popular visiting area within Bridlington seafront, and it had an excellent view of the docks themselves, which once you see my design will make more sense why you'd need to have a good view of the docks. The East Riding Leisure Centre was located near the seafront, so it had an excellent view of the docks. However, it was further away from the popular visiting area, so I chose not to choose this location. And the arcades ramp, located near the seating platform that people who visit Bridlington often use to eat food. It was a good location, it had a view of the docks, however there was little room for placement, so I opted not to use this location. Now, as far as research, here you can see that I covered virtual reality in depth, looking how it's used most commonly within gaming these days. However, I won't be using it quite in the same fashion for my design. Here is more research looking at the software that would be used to create these environments within SDKs or software development kits. Feel free to pause any moment to read this information. Here we look at what normal tourist telescopes are made out of, something that my device would use. And here we actually find research into the beginnings of Bridlington, at least its name on this page, originating from Anglo-Saxon times. Actually, it was known as a different name until quite recently. However, obviously now it's referred to as Bridlington. Here we find who actually owned the city of Bridlington. Obviously, you can see that it was passed down to different owners from the king or queen that was in power of Britain at a certain period of time. And here's more research looking into actually who would occupy Bridlington itself. This is important for my design because different eras and occupancy of Bridlington would mean different people and sounds would be heard and seen in my design. Here we see that there was Saxons in Bridlington within the 4th century. and Bridlington had time within a civil war and Victorian era. Here's some interesting facts during that time period. It's also one of the second most bombed places within the Second World War. First was actually Kingston upon Hull. And here is how my device would work. This is the concept itself. Here we see a reference to what the model would look like theoretically. Obviously, it's not an in-depth analysis of what it would actually be, but here's some basic measurements and what it would be configured out of. And this is basically my representation of what the experience would be. So if this telescopic device that you can see in the middle, yellow, would be looking at the left-hand side of this, and it's turned to the left, you would be seeing a time period of Roman occupancy. And as you move further to the right, you would go forward in time, seeing a virtual environment that would be made from VR SDK software. And in this demonstration, you can see the words underneath, the periods of time, sounds, and things that you would hear and see within these experiences. Here is a scenario in which someone would use the device. Here are some personas and some theoretical users. These are my references, and thank you.